Hi everyone, my name is King IV and this is an introduction to SAS lesson. This is the fourth lesson of a series of 7 lessons. So if you haven't checked out what is SAS, reading data, creating new variables, definitely check out those videos because I think they'll be really helpful and help you better understand what we're doing in this particular lesson. So we're going to be talking about subsetting data. So there's 2 main ways you can subset data. So the first way is using the where statement. The where statement. The second one is to use the subsetting if statement. Both of them are really helpful, really useful, but I actually find that the if statement is more useful, and really the only times I use the where statement is during the when I use the proc step. And here's a quick cheat sheet to show you different scenarios where and if can be used. And you'll see that in a lot of cases where can be used, but there are some exceptions where cannot be used, where the subsetting if statement does work. And that's based off of how SAS is actually set up. And it's actually set up so it might seem like weird why you can't use where in some cases where you can't use if. It's because SAS is really optimized to process a large amount of data, so they split it up into these various steps, and these various steps, when you use where and if, they are treated differently. So let's go ahead and get started on SAS 9.4 base SAS. So here I start with something pretty simple. I'm going to call it data, and I'm going to call my SAS data set Euro cars, and I'm going to go set SAS help dot cars, and I'm going to run that, and then let's do a proc print data equals work dot Euro cars, and then here I'm just going to run this. So if we run this normally, you'll see the proc print show up. Yeah, it's great, it's fine and dandy, but you'll see based off the data set, we actually only want the Euro cars. So there's 2 places we can do it. So we can do it here in the data step, or we can do it in the proc step. And I'll quickly explain why you would do one over the other. So here we're going to do where, pretty straightforward, and we're going to go upcase, just so that we don't have to, it basically turns everything into capitals, so we don't have to worry about case sensitive. So in this case we're going to use Europe. You'll see here in the origins area, and then we're going to run that, and you're going to see all these cars only from Europe. Okay, good. Another way we could do it is we could also do it in the proc print step. So we run it again, proc print. The one disadvantage is that the data set here, the advantage is that this data actually still contains all the data, and really when you printed it is where the difference actually showed up. So if you have a very large data set and you're looking to perform your proc procedures, right now it doesn't really matter because the data set's pretty small. It's not going to really slow down. You're not really worried about optimization. But if, for example, you have 10 million lines, 50 rows, or 50 columns of data, that's a lot of data. And if you were to subset it previously, if you're going to only use a small portion, it may save CPU time for processing during your proc steps. It may also save storage if that's an issue as well. But pros and cons, each one. But you can see here, it doesn't really matter where you do it. And it's the same case as well. So you can, if you were using the subsetting if statement, you could again use it here. Just run this. It would still work. And then as well, but you can't use it here. So you're going to see in the log, it actually doesn't recognize it here. So I really only use the where statement in my proc procedures. Okay, cool. So, but what happens if I want to create a new variable and filter based off of that? So if I have profit, for example, and I equals MSRP minus invoice, check out the last lesson if that doesn't look familiar. And I try to use where profit is greater than $5,000. And I try to run that. And it looks like SAS tried to run it, but when you actually take a look here, you'll take a look up here where we actually tried to run it. Profit is not in the data file SAS help.cars. So what this is really telling me, in essence, why you have to use where versus if, is that where basically only looks at the variables, the columns that already exist in the source data set. and then applies the various filters. But in this case, profit is a new variable that you've created. You'll see this new variable that you've created in using the statements. So if you actually want to make this work, what you have to do here is go and create the if statement, and then you'll see that it only filters for the ones above 5,000. You'll see here that there's only 44 observations when before there was 428 of them. So you can see only a small percentage of them actually filtered using that correctly. Obviously, you could do this and then do profit less than 5,000. And you'll see here, if we go to the log, it worked out perfectly. Now there's 383 observations. So that works as well. Depends on what you're looking for and what you're trying to accomplish. So that's it in terms of subsetting. Obviously, it can get a lot more complicated, and there's different instances that you have to deal with. And when you're talking about when we do combining data sets, we'll maybe incorporate some of these instances where you use where versus if. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you.